If the stock market and tech CEOs are out there constantly claiming we are entering this golden age of limitless productivity, but the average person in the advanced economy is feeling the exact opposite, we have to figure out where the disconnect is. Are people fundamentally misunderstanding the technology, or are they experiencing a reality that executives are completely insulated from? Our research points firmly to a reality gap. The friction is being felt most acutely in people's wallets and their job security. And we are looking at a scenario where towering macroeconomic optimism is clashing violently with the individual day-to-day precarity. So let's map out the macro optimism. Global job barometers show 56% wage premium for workers with AI skills. And this is according to a PricewaterhouseCoopers study. On top of that, industries highly exposed to AI are seeing revenue growth per employee 3 times higher than low exposure sectors. Economic forecasters even project a net gain of 78 million jobs by 2030, projecting 170 million new roles created versus 92 million jobs being displaced. But workers aren't blind. They recognize the short-term utility. Maybe a tool helps them write a report twice as fast today, but they suspect that by using it, they're essentially training their digital replacements for tomorrow. It's like being told by national economists that the country is experiencing a massive boom, but your specific bank account is draining. And they are seeing corporate restructuring announcements happen at the exact same time as these so-called AI efficiency rollouts. And they are doing the math. And data adds an important psychological nuance to this point. About 40% of people in the US and the UK fear widespread job losses in the broader economy, but only 20% actually fear for their own specific role. It's less about definitely getting fired tomorrow and more of a feeling that the whole system is slowly breaking down around them. It indicates a broad systemic dread. People are worried about erosion of the middle class, generally economic stability, and growing decoupling of capital from labor. The macro narrative being sold to them points to endless growth, but their lived narrative is one of absolute precarity. So when people feel that kind of deep economic vulnerability, they start looking for the mechanisms causing it. And because when you feel financially trapped, AI stops being viewed as helpful or as a helpful piece of software and starts looking like an enforcement mechanism for elite control. This public resistance is deeply tied to global cost of living crisis. As inflation and unaffordable housing erode personal security, a person's sense of agency declines. And when institutional trust collapses, people naturally look for explanations. The research shows several narratives where AI is framed as the ultimate enforcer of this hardship. For example, there is a growing view of AI as the engine of a surveillance state tracking everyday citizens. There is also a reinterpretation of the 15-minute cities, originally an urban planning concept about having amenities within walking distance. Through the lens of economic anxiety and algorithmic distrust, it is being interpreted as by some as digitally monitored restricted zones meant to control movement. There is also a narrative of engineered obsolescence, the belief that AI-driven job loss is entirely intentional, aimed at forcing population control and dependency. So to be absolutely clear, we're not validating or endorsing any of these theories, but we have to acknowledge that the research that shows that these narratives are gaining serious widespread traction as a direct psychological reaction to the economic pain. You don't just hang your existential dread on the coat rack when you walk into the office. You carry all of that anxiety into every meeting and every software rollout. It fractures organizations from the inside out as companies try to push rapid AI adoption to chase those productivity gains. They are colliding head-on with this complex human reality. So this brings us to the 7 mandatory actions for leaders outlined in our research. Number 1, rebuild trust through radical transparency. You have to fix opaque decision-making so people don't feel like AI is something being done to them in secret. Stop hiding the AI rollouts and restructuring plans behind closed doors. Number 2, deliver immediate localized value. Stop the abstract 10-year horizon promises. You have to show how it helps the specific worker today. Find their specific pain point. If Jim in accounting spends 3 hours every Friday doing tedious data reconciliation, you don't sell him on the future of work. You automate that specific task and you give Jim his Friday afternoon back. Number 3, protect economic dignity and job security. You have to address the fear of redundancy directly through aggressive reskilling programs and intentional role redesign. Number 4, address environmental and community impact. Companies have to stop being extractive. You cannot impose massive power and water infrastructure on a community without their active consent and partnership. Number 5, protect children and human development. Companies building these tools must acknowledge and address the fears of psychological harm early rather than waiting for legislation. And if you build tools that parents view as toxic, you're building a product with an expiration date. Number 6, humanize leadership. The alienating, dehumanizing tech rhetoric, like comparing human beings to server farms, has to stop immediately. Leaders need to speak to the human experience. And number 7, create a new social contract inside the organization. Internal resistance is just a mirror of societal distrust. So the solution to AI resistance isn't a better software rollout, a more efficient large language model, or a flashier PowerPoint presentation. It's fundamentally about proving to your workforce and your local community that human worth is still the ultimate priority. So I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as we wrap up today's episode. If AI adoption is currently stalling out because of this massive systemic trust deficit, consider this. What happens to the organization that simply choose to ignore this new social contract? Will the ultimate competitive advantage in the age of artificial intelligence actually turn out to be profound, undeniable human empathy?